Okay, so I'm going to do the pre-drive checks, Reg.
Okay.
And the idea of this video is to do a routine drive and a blue light drive, so we can see the difference between the two. And then I'm going to talk about both things as I'm driving along the road. So first thing I'll do is I get in the van, is I'm going to check that the handbrake is applied and the gear lever is in neutral. And if I'm not familiar with the van, I'm going to familiarise myself with the gearbox. Now I do know the van, it's 6-speed gearbox. I can see where the reverse is. So I don't need to go through that in this case. Next I'm going to adjust my seat. Now as you've been sitting on it, just about to see over the steering wheel. I'm going to lift the seat up a little bit so I've got a good vision out the window. I'm going to just put the clutch down, make sure my knee's got a bend in it. Actually that feels fairly good. And I can always adjust the height and the rake just to make that more comfortable. So I'm going to go through with a touch more, and I adjust everything on the seat, so the height, the rake, the head restraint, make sure that that's in the right position in case of collision. Oh, trapped my finger there, did I, Rich?
No, you're right.
Okay, so when I put my hands on the wheel, I've got a bend in the elbow. When I put the clutch down, I've got a bend in the knee. I'm quite happy with that. The steering wheel's not interfering with my knees or anything like that, so I'm quite happy. So next thing, once I've got the seat adjusted, is the mirrors. If I look in the mirrors at the moment, they're actually perfect for me. I can see about a quarter of the ambulance and the rest of it the outside. I can see the door handle sitting at the bottom of the mirror. I can see the wheels and the wheel arch, and on the near side mirror is exactly the same, actually spot on. So I haven't got to adjust that. So I'm going to do a pre-start check now. So what I'm doing first, I've got the clutch down, I'm going to pump the brake up, and I'm going to pump this up about 3 or 4 times till it goes quite solid. So the brake is quite solid now, and now I'm going to see what happens when I start the engine. So I'm pulling down on the steering wheel slightly, turning the clicks 1 click at a time, just to make sure there's no warning lights on. So there we've got all the diagnostics going on. And we've got just under half a tank of fuel, so we'll probably get some fuel while we're out. We'll turn the radio off. Professional video, of course. So I'm holding my left hand down, just applying a bit of pressure on the steering wheel, and I'm going to start the engine up, and I'll feel the brake. The wheels just moved a little bit, which tells me the power steering is functioning. The brake is slipping down, only very slightly. So I'm happy with that. So now I do a secondary brake check. So I'm pumping the brake up again, hold it firm, and now I'm going to take the handbrake off. As it's the first time I've driven the van today, I'm going to count the clicks on the handbrake. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it's just been tightened up, this handbrake. Now the reason I'm doing that is if it's loose, we will count 6 tomorrow, or 7, or even 8. We know there's something wrong with the handbrake. So I won't use the handbrake like that now for the rest of the time. I'll just take it off, and I'll just put it up to the same level with the button pressed in. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to just familiarise myself with the controls of the vehicle, and I'm looking down to make sure I'm aware of the climate control we got on here. I'm making sure I know where the hazard warning lights are, anything else that's important for me, the indicators, the lights, etc., which we've already done. We've done the VDI check on the vehicle anyway. So I'm quite happy with that. I'm going to actually set the, it's just quite warm, isn't it? So we'll turn that down a little bit, put the AC on, and that's fine. So familiarise myself with the vehicle, making sure there's no creepy crawlies in the visor, the spider checks, and the windows have got no cracks in them as I'm sitting here. It all looks good. Okay, so seatbelt on. All my passengers, patients in the back. Got your seatbelts on? Yeah. All ready? So when I put the seatbelt on, I'm going to just quickly release it, make sure it's actually releasable. I'm happy with that. A little tug on it to make sure the inertia is working all right on it, and I'm happy with that. I'm hoping nothing's behind the seatbelt in case it does activate, and I'm happy with that. Doors shut. So my last thing is doors shut. Everyone, I'm looking at the dashboard, just making sure there's no lights warning me the doors are open. I'm going to move off. So into first gear, mirrors and shoulders. And I'm just going to move off. The last stage of the pre-drive check will be a brake check. Now it's a bit rough around here, so I'm going to just get it out onto the lane. sure it's safe from the near side. So sometimes cars coming out of that car park, I'm looking over to the right, scanning both ways, nice and safe. Always check my mirrors before I do the brake checks. We've got a little stretch of road here, get it into second gear, let's speed up to around about 20 miles an hour or so, watching that white van on the near side. And I'm just going to check the brakes, guys. It's just our brand new brake pads, but wouldn't think so by that. Going to be turning right here, so I am going to use a signal here. Although there's nothing behind me or nothing to the left, it would catch someone's attention if they were to come around that corner. You clear that way, Reg? It's important I can use my crewmate here to have a look. Checking the mirror now as I pull away, both sides, and they've got the DHL van in front. And we've got a single track road here, no centre line. Just covering the horn as I go past the junction on the offside there, just in case there's anything about to pop out there. Road bending round to the left, watching that DHL van in front, watching for brake lights on the top of that, maybe as it goes over the brow of the hill, might warn me that something's going around the corner. Mirrors on both sides on the bend, so leave the bend. Just moving out to the offside a little bit for vision here, but being prepared to come back in. Speed is always going to be able to stop in the distance that's clear on my side of the road. Got a bit more vision now. Got parkers on the near side and further ahead on the offside. So when I get to the end of the road, I'm going to be turning left and then left onto the A20, and then a short 20-minute drive down to we'll go to the petrol station, and then after that we'll do a blue light run down through Maidstone. So the idea is just to demonstrate the difference between the two styles of driving. So I'm turning left at the end of the road, checking mirrors. It's nice and safe, there's actually nothing behind at all. So at the moment I'm not going to give a signal. I'm on the braking phase at the moment, speed phase of system, which I might explain in a minute. So I'm bringing it to a stop almost here because the vision's not very good. The other thing is I want to pull out onto the A20. So I need a nice early view of this road. So I'm going to put a signal on, and actually there's nothing there, but making sure the blind spot's covered as well because it's joining onto a high-speed road. And now picking up the drive. So on a routine drive, I'm going to use the gears a little bit more friendly. So I'm going into the gears slightly earlier than I will be later on the blue light drive. The speed limit on this road is 60. We've got queuing traffic ahead. We've got side road on the right as well. Road bending to the left as keep left side. There's traffic coming towards, nothing behind. So maximum speed at the moment is 50 in this vehicle for a single carriageway, 60 for a dual carriageway, 70 for a motorway. So as I come up to the bend here, I'm just going to move over to the offside, to the nearer to the line in the centre of the road. We call this P3 position, and then and just maintain P3 round that bend, mindful of the near side here where there's a junction. We've also got a warning for roadworks, bending, and a bend to the right, traffic signals, and dual carriageway ends. And just to add another sign to it, we've got road narrowing from the right. So as I come in around the corner, anticipating the hazard, there it is. It's on green at the moment, checking both mirrors as I'm coming in, reducing speed. First of all using the acceleration sensor, now the brake. And the speed limit is 40, aiming to match 40, but mindful that these lights may change. Going to drop this one down now into a lower gear. Actually, I'm going to bring that to a rest just at that point. So that was one of those ones where another second earlier would have gone.
Yeah.
Second later, it's we can't justify going through there.
No. If you look up there, there's stuff coming already, and that's made all these stop.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
That's crazy, isn't it? There's obviously something going on there, isn't there?
Yeah. So had I gone through, I'd have only just
You would have blocked it, wouldn't it?
cleared that. Yeah. If they'd have come out there, I could have blocked the road.
Yeah.
And an amber light means stop if it's safe to do so. There was nothing following me at that moment.
No.
But again, another situation I may well have
Just gone.
if I had a large
Oh,
vehicle
okay.
suddenly coming up behind me or something. Let's put it into first. Checking both mirrors and right shoulder to the offside of there, just make sure there's nothing in the blind spot, particularly things like motorcyclists that may try and sneak through. And just being a bit cautious here because we've got the roadworks workers. Yeah, just watching for anyone moving really through that area. I was holding the road, still in a 40 mile an hour speed limit. following the road to Maidstone, so we're on the A20, mirror position, going to move towards the centre line and now return back to P2. This is the normal driving position. So we divide the lane or the road carriageway up into 6 pieces. Near side is P1, position 1, which is just off the carriageway line. P2 is your normal centre of your lane driving position, which I'm demonstrating now. P3 will be just off of the centre line, so when your wheels are on the near side of the centre line. I'm going to go into the roundabout now, taking the first exit. So mirrors, lorry behind us a good distance back. Speed phase at the moment. Once I'm happy with the speed phase, I'm actually happy with the gear as well. I'm going to maintain there, and signal, no one to signal to. So in this case, it's not going to benefit anybody. Heads up, got a petrol station car park, car coming out of the petrol station towards me. So just easing off a little bit really, watching for anyone else moving out of that petrol station, staying in P2 position at the moment. Side road on the left and the national speed limit gateway, pedestrians walking towards, cars coming towards them, some in the distance. I'm maintaining my normal 40. Mirror shoulder check just to make sure there's nothing overtaking me. Building the speed back to 50, so it's only a little bit. We've got 2 deflection arrows on the road there. 90% of those are going to be a solid white line or a broken white line with chevrons, so it's protecting something, junction. Going into a dual carriageway area here, we've got the car pulling out on the near side. I'm going to rest the engine up to 5th gear here because it's nice and clear through there, and I can save a little bit of fuel on blue lights. On maybe on response driving, I'm going to use that slightly more. Going to get more out of each gear. So 2-way traffic straight ahead, no stopping clearway, and we are coming towards the end of that dual carriageway. Sometimes you will get dual carriageway end signs as well, and then the 2-way traffic straight ahead sign. Road bending round to the right, looking at the vehicle in front, you can see it's not a sharp bend. I can also tell by the hedgerow. Checking the mirrors as I come into the bend and moving into P1, that gives me better view, safety and stability for this corner according to principles of Roadcraft and cornering. And as I come off the bend here now, moving over to P3, but I am prepared to surrender that position if anything comes around the corner a little bit wide. So I'm actually just going to use P2 here because there's no benefit being any further out. Got a slow warning sign on the carriageway. Little group of houses there, so I'll be scanning that junction for anything that might move. Mirrors on approach, there's nothing behind, it's nice and safe. Nothing at the junction, moving ahead further, eyes up now on full beam, and we've got a bend to the right. Okay, again, by the angle of the hedgerow there, it's not a sharp bend, mirror position, I'm going to P1, view, safety and stability. Maintain that position, maintain the acceleration around the bend, so we're keeping that sort of steady speed around the bend. So your vehicle is more stable when the engine is just pulling. So it's just pulling it around that bend without increasing speed. And we call that A1 acceleration. A2 is increasing speed. A1 maintaining speed. So road bending round to the left, mirror position. Now I've got a solid white line system. I'm going to go just off the solid white line, ready to surrender that. In fact, now there's no benefit. So back to my normal P2. Middle of my lane driving position. Looking ahead, there's roadworks up there, so mirrors, nice and safe behind. There's a junction on the near side and the off side. And traffic signals ahead. There is a vehicle stopped. We've got a red light. Just scanning the junction on the near side. And using acceleration sense, this is the ability to vary the vehicle's road speed by accurate use of the accelerator in ever-changing road and traffic conditions, according to Roadcraft. Now I'm on the brakes, bringing the speed down with 3-stage braking. So I've taken up the pressure. Now the main braking part, just dipping the clutch. And as I come to a rest, I'm just going to be easing the brake off so we don't feel any of that, leaving a nice little gap in front in case this vehicle breaks down. Let it rest, handbrake on. For the long stop, we'll put it in neutral. And as this starts stop on this, we can take the clutch up and save a bit of fuel that way as well. So looking over the brow of the hill for any movement of vehicles, I'm going to anticipate the light's going to change fairly shortly. There is a car coming, so again, he has stopped. So clutch down to restart the engine. Mirrors shoulder check. Moving out nice and early. This is P5. So this is a position we're often going to use now on response driving. This is the centre of the lane offside, the offside of the road, which can be a bit daunting at first. I'm going to come back in again, mirrors, near side mirror. Mindful of anything overtaking down here, you never know. And picking up the drive again, up to 4th gear, into a 50, and we've got a stagger junction first to the right, mirrors car behind. And to save a bit of fuel, I'm actually going to now rest the engine into 5th gear. Nice straight road, lots of junctions, got the white one approaching, watching this one carefully. Wheels are slowing right down, not moving now, no threat. So mirrors, again, nice and safe behind. The car behind is keeping back. You've got, again, a series of junctions on the near side. Parked van on the offside with the door open. And a couple of vehicles coming towards, but otherwise very quiet. So there's a lay-by here, nothing in it, but if there was something in there I might change my position slightly using system. So system consists of 4 phases: position, the vehicle, speed of the vehicle, gear of the vehicle, and the amount of acceleration of the vehicle, and an information that flows throughout those. So I need information to get position, information to change my speed, and information to change my gear for a variety of different ways. I'm going to actually just drop that down to 4th through the junction. Nice sustained gear change there, so we can try not to fill the gear. Road's opening up now as we come along. See a white van coming towards, we've got one behind. Road bending round to the right, you can see the way the tree line's going there. Again, you can see the side of the car coming around the corner, but not much of it, so it's not a sharp bend. There's also a junction merging from the near side, no stopping clear way sign, and a keep left. So watching these vehicles, mirrors, at the moment there's nothing behind. I'm quite happy that this one's stationary now, doesn't look like a threat. If the wheels start turning, I'll be being prepared to slow down. One turning in front and the lorry as well. So just coming off the drive, just mindful there's nothing down the side of this vehicle as well. Anything sticking out potentially could be dangerous, or another vehicle coming around there, or even a motorcyclist. And if I look up in the distance, I can see the petrol station where we're going to be filling up. I'm going to pull in there, and then coming out of there, we're going to have a blue light demonstration. Reg, can you just pause that top there for me?
Yeah, easy.
Okay, so we're back now. We've got a full tank of fuel, and we're now going to do a blue light drive through a journey down to Maidstone. I've got a car coming in behind me here, just make sure he doesn't come round. So I'm going to come up to the exit here and turn right, and I'm going to wait for a few minutes when the situation's right to go on blue lights. Put a signal on, let this person here know in case he's thinking of pulling out. Plus he's going to block the view a little bit there, so I'm going to try and angle it so I've got a better way of getting out. So again, got nothing coming from the offside. The near side is still busy. Gap after the white car would take the gap there.
After white.
Offside I've got a van, but it's way back. So coming out into the road, into second while the wheels are straight. And actually, what we do before we go on our response drive is to quickly look and make sure that if we put the sirens on, we're not going to make anyone panic. So the first thing I'm going to do is to switch the 999 button for the lights. Then if I check in the mirror, I can see the lights have activated, 40 mile an hour speed limit ahead. And now we're going to make progress. We're going to make safe progress through the town. So at the moment I haven't got the sirens on because I'm not close enough. But now I'm going to activate the sirens as we're coming in. So we've got 3 sirens on here. There's one. This is called the wow mirrors, and moving out into P4 nice and early. We've then got the yelp, which is the faster tone, which is this one. And then for really close contact stuff, we've got the piercer, which is this one. So back to the wow. Okay. Mirrors are moving out early. Watching for reaction on the van. There's 2 forms of reaction. I've got the brakes and the indicator and the speed there. It means it's safe to overtake. You don't have to go flying past everyone. It's all a case of just catching up and dealing with them one-on-one. So again, I'm waiting for the car in front to respond. So I'm in the P4 position now, centre of the road, there's the response. Don't need to change the tones because clearly it's given way. Mirrors them back in again, and then I'm going to be following the next one. I've got to be thinking about getting out again. So change the tones, mirrors and shoulder, and moving out again. Let's just get into his mirrors. There's the reaction. It's quite close to the, I have got the option of going round there, but at that point, he's gone quite close to the island. So mirrors and shoulders and back round, watching the pedestrians, watching the second car in the queue here, and now making progress. So they changed the tones, got that person's attention there, Reg, didn't it? You see that?
I did.
So the moment I changed back from the yelp to the, from the wow to the yelp, he literally stopped. So now we've got the lorry in front. So moving in, again, we're in P4, and we're looking at getting in his mirrors. So if we follow them, they don't often notice. Again, we've got to get the island there, mirrors back in again. So I'm just sitting back, there's the brake lights, there's an indicator, where's he going to go? He's got his hazards on. I'm quite happy with that. Making sure nice and wide. New side check, coming back in again. Time's off for a second, we've got a 40-mile-an-hour speed limit coming up. And we're already at 50, so we couldn't actually, we're capped at 20 above the speed limit for this trust. So you notice I'm using the gears to get the speed out a little bit more. We're up to our speed limit for the road at the moment. Just tones on again for this one. Just to warn him in case he thought about coming out there, he might have had the sun in his eyes, might not be able to see. You'd be surprised how big bright yellow ambulance like this with blue flashing lights becomes invisible at times. Okay, we can pick the drive up a little bit more. So it's mirror blind spot check, just a little shoulder check. And we're going to catch up the three in front. So we're going to put the tones back on now. And watching for reaction. I need two forms of reaction. And you get a moment of realisation. The moment of realisation is when that person knows you're there. At the moment I don't think they do. Can't go out too far here because of the bend. So as I'm coming around, I'm aware of the junction on the offside here as well. So let's change the tones. Now we can move out slightly. There's the brake lights. Is it for me? Being cautious here. Yep, happy with that. Mirrors and out. Nice and bold into the middle here. So now we've got the next one. So each one's a different. It's a different occasion really. So there's brake lights and positional change. Mindful of vehicles coming around this bend here. Mirrors and back out again. So as I'm coming around the bend here, I'm looking at the line structure on the road, solid white line. So turning the tones off quickly there, and just rather than turn the lights off, I'm actually going to leave the lights on and hold back here and let this vehicle not feel pressured into giving way. We've now got a broken white line, but a solid white line coming up again. So again, quite difficult to tell there where the line was because it was so badly scarred. So I'm going to sit behind but not cause any pressure on the blue car. Now the tones can come on again, so moving in. Okay, so we're watching the reaction. I'm in the hatch markings, just sitting back, can't overtake here. And at the moment we've got no reaction, solid white light, mirrors back in. Now it's brakes there, okay, so now I've got to be very careful that I don't overtake him on the solid white. I don't want to overtake here at the moment. Okay, it's right on the brow of the hill, so I'm just going to drop down into a lower gear. I don't want to overtake there, but I can overtake him there. So I'm actually going to now mirrors and shoulder out early, right out to P5, and watch the oncoming white car. So there's a really good example. If I'd gone across the solid white line there, I'd been committing an offence. I would also be putting myself in slight danger there because they were brow of the hill. So there was no vision after that. Coming into a roundabout, so I'm going to change the tones as we're coming in. And we're looking for the line of least resistance, the straightest line through the roundabout. So mirrors. Again, just to make sure there's nothing behind. Change the tones, got the reaction there, quite happy, gears matched as well, mirrors and through. So I just took the straight line option, and now we've got the white lorry here, so we're again watching out with what happens here. Mirrors, the gear is matched nicely, so I'm going to use the offside position here. He's gone over, so I've got two forms of reaction. Dual carriageways is not so crucial to get two forms of reaction anyway. It's more about the single carriageway road. So I'm going to be taking the first exit of the roundabout. So actually what I'm going to do is stay in lane 2 at the moment. but put a signal on so people know that I want to take the first exit. The other thing is I can smooth out this corner now. So there's nothing from the right, he's okay. We'll drop that down to third gear, stay rev, straight line through, we can use the hatch markings. Watching this car on the near side, and solid white line again, so mirrors and back off. So tones off, again, don't want to create the feeling that I want them to stop, particularly there. So all I'm doing is following at a safe distance and hope they keep going. Got brake lights on the middle car and the second one. So we're looking for the brake in the line, we've got it. Mirrors, shoulder check, moving out, across the line early, mindful of this one. Now we've got recognition on the second one. So you can see a very good example there of how one brakes and the other one then, because he's not showing that intention to pull over, there's no form of recognition. He was about to overtake, wasn't he, Reg?
It was, yeah.
Okay, back up to the next one. So I'm moving in a bit just for vision. Don't want to be coming around there where I'm losing vision, and catching the one in front. So watching the red one here, so staying out next to the line, P3, changing the tones. You can toggle through the tones quite quickly because it's the change of noise that gets the attention. So I'm moving out early. I'm going to be aware that there's a junction on the offside there, and also it's quite bumpy. So sometimes being in this position, let's just change the tones again. At the moment we haven't got any reaction on this car. He's braking, I believe, because of the car in front, but not showing any intention to pull over at the moment. That may change. Now he's braking, he doesn't know I'm there. Okay, so this is good because if it's on video, it looks even better. It's a good training video, and actually he's speeding up. So he's either got no idea I'm there, or he doesn't want to stop. Which is fine by me, because he's not actually slowing me down. We're coming into a 30. Okay, let's see what he does now. It's quite an interesting situation. I'm going to change, toggle through the tones, just making sure there. I'm already at 50 going into a 30, which is pretty much matching the speed of the car in front. We'll get out of the way of the oncoming vehicle. Back to the long tones again and moving out. So I'm trying to get into his mirrors. What I've got to be careful of is red mist. So I don't want to be, my attention is purely focused now on overtaking this car and wondering why he's speeding up. I need to focus on everything. And I'm quite prepared here. I'll just change the tone there, just for that pedestrian at that point. Mirrors and over, into the centre. What we're going to do is just give it a bit more of a responsive gear here, watching the traffic light. You can see that white car. Now what's going to happen here is this guy is now aware. So I was very aware that that guy there was going to shoot off again. So I don't think he knew I was there from any point, did he?
Looking the other way?
Yeah.
Looking down this junction?
Yeah. Yeah. He's looking for me and I'm right behind him. But you notice how we never got close to him?
No.
To the point where, because if he does notice you, what's he going to do? Like this, you know, they brake. So mirrors position out nice and early between the bus and the van. Change the tones through the hazard. Okay, new tone, new hazard, new tone. Again, thanking them for their cooperation there. The blue car's pulled over. Eyes up again, up to full beam, looking down the road to see a queue of traffic, brake lights going on, mirrors and out, nice and early. Got the exemption of going on the offside here, but I don't need it at the moment. But I'm going to take, looking underneath the car in front, change the tones. Gingerly coming out here. Okay, got a nice run through there, and all I'm going to be looking for is the gap through the traffic lights, whether it's the near side or the offside. Okay, now I'm going to actually take the offside here because there's not a lot of room. Into the piercer through here, happy with the vehicle there, everything's matched up nicely, and now applying the acceleration to leave the hazard safely. Lots of oncoming vehicles here, watching the pedestrian over there, side road, traffic lights on green, pedestrian crossing by the looks of it. Mirrors, cars well back at the moment, watching for pedestrians around the crossing. There's no one there, I'm not anticipating the light changing, but just bringing it down to a nearer road speed though. Solid white line system, tones off. Although there's nothing in front, so sometimes I can leave the tones on if I'm not following anyone, just to warn people. So we've got brake lights here and a queue of traffic, so tones back on again. Looking for the options here. So mirrors. Okay, got the bus lane through here, which is furthest away from the offside junction. Little change of tones through there, quite happy with that there. Nice wide open green light. 40 mile an now, speed limit. Back on the long tones now for the corner. So I'm looking over the top of that hill into a 30 mirrors. Nice and safe behind at the moment, traffic light, which is again a green ATS. It was a PEDX, there's pedestrian crossing. No one at the pedestrian crossing, moving out just to open up the view. Mindful of the junction on the near side, changing the tone for that. Back to the solid white line again, tones off. To caution, because the vision in front is not great, got one in the front of me braking on the bend there, so I'm anticipating there may be a queue around that corner. You may be parked up, and I'm going to keep over to P3 until I've got better vision of what's going on here. So watching for the lights, it's actually not there, which is fine. Changing through the lights, quick scan through the petrol station there as well. Turning the tones off here now because I don't want to force them into the red light, just hanging back a little bit. And if I creep towards that car, he's going to go over. So I'm just going to hang on here a second. Although we would be quite safe in that situation, but we're on a training run. We've got no reason at this moment. And now we can move out of the way. So what we want to not do is force people through red lights. Following the road around to the left, so give a signal. Change the tones on the bend here, coming in wide, watching the pedestrian. Just maintaining the speed around the bend. Looking at the traffic light system on red. The safest place is going to be near side, away from the junction on the right, on the offside. Just bringing the speed back down now. So red light, we bring it down to a walking speed. Happy, yep, happy with all of those. Change the gear to a more responsive gear and moving back over to the offside lane now. Just looking if there's a way through here, whether I can keep the tones on. There is a green light, so let's change the tones. So change the tones is what's getting the attention. It's quite busy through here. Generally through green lights, we're not going to be going through 20 above the speed limit. Depending on how busy the road is as well. Got one pulled up here, the white's responding. Okay, gears match nicely there for second, just moving round these cars. And as we come up to the next hazard, we'll change the tones again. Coming into a green, anticipating the junction, looking for another blue light here. Little scan round to the near side, mirrors out nice and wide. Really following the A20 still, so we're coming into Maidstone town centre. Mindful of the silver car here, again we're going to have pedestrians, people parked up, just bringing the speed down, no way through here. So we'll take the tones off, we'll have a little look at what options we've got available here. So they're not moving, so there is a solid white line there, but if traffic's not moving, I can just sort of kind of walk through here at very low speed, still making progress, but note without tones on. I don't want people to panic. We've got a learner there as well who may well panic in this situation. So letting everything settle here. Now the lights change, I can put the tones back on and just a little bleep just to let people know I'm here. I'm going to aim to turn left at the lights, so I'm looking at the lane of least resistance, mirrors offside position and take left signal. Watching these pedestrians, I want to keep away from them on this turn. So we've got the short tones on now, around the bend, looking at the lane of least resistance now, traffic lights on green. Ask the van to go over, watching the pedestrian there. She's not moving, which is good. Quick scan through, lights have changed against me, but I've got plenty of time to look and change the time. So picking up the pace now, I've got a little bit more room in front. I'm still in a 30 mile an hour speed limit. We're taking the next right on this corner up here. So I'm going to move out early, just to let them know I'm coming up here. Give a signal, and then use the system. So I'm bringing the speed down. Changing the tone, speed's correct. We'll select the gear that matches that speed and accelerate gently through the bend. Staying in the offside lane here to make progress through the traffic. And again, I'm going to keep the wide position here, watching that glass there for any kind of mirror effect of cars. There's one there, so you can see the car coming around the bend. Hopefully you might be able to see me. And we're going to catch up the supermarket, Tesco, I think. Tesco lorry. So we're again, we're maxing the speed out at the moment, and we're watching for a reaction from Tesco. Mirror's position, going to take the middle position here. So P4, change the tones, and just let them settle here. So what that white car is now turned in. Off the brake into the gear, taking the second, mirrors and shoulder. Near side mirror check back in again, just thanking these people here. Change the tone through the hazard, back on the drive again. So again, got another traffic light system ahead, got a car out. Just bringing the speed down, it's on red. So let's turn the tones off a minute and have a look. Give ourselves a little break, see what options I've got here without forcing anyone through. Okay, so I have got space there now. He's taking that on himself. He's actually quite safe there. I'm going to put the short tones on here and the phaser here, just to give people good awareness that I'm there. So these built up areas, we pretty much keep the tones on all the time until we get a space, you know, where we don't need them. At the moment we really do need them. So watching the blue, is he noticing me? Is he pulling over, mirrors and out into the middle? Happy with that one. Watch the one coming out on the near side. Stay